Tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by the superstar and movie star and what else did you do? You did the Toys for Tots this last weekend. Helping
past two weekends.
Past 2 weekends. Helping your fellow kids out. Jeffrey. What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, Doug. Nothing much. Just trying to stay dry, man. Texas was a little wet this weekend.
Oh, was it wet?
Oh, yeah.
I believe that. Let's see. I see my chats on. I don't see anybody on Facebook, but let's see what happens with YouTube. If you guys want to post, show us that you're here. First off, I want to thank our sponsors for today's podcast, our normal sponsors we normally have. We have Stolman Transport, LLC, lots of Watts, custom apparel, Puns Customs out of Minnesota. And we also have Crossfire Car Audio. Let's say, hey, Facebook is working, says Tiffany.
Oh, is it working?
And Mel
good.
Valadez
Okay.
says it's working. Says, what's up, guys? So we got Facebook. So we got Facebook working, and all these people say hello. And we got SQ
jump
Sounds.
on here with us.
Yeah, Mel Valadez, check your PMs.
it?
We got Dave McKay checking in with us. All right, so Rob Collar could not make it today. He just texted me, said, yeah, he won't be able to make it in good. Won't be able to make it in tonight. So we had to only have 3 people. So we got one more spot open. If somebody wants to jump in with us and start talking about rules. So, how you been, Chris, for the last 2 weeks?
It's been great, man. We knocked out our Toys for Tots event earlier this season. So, been doing a lot of the family stuff, prepping for. We've got 4 new competitors coming out this season in base race, a few in street stock 1K. So, just getting kind of those builds in line, trying to get everything ready for, get the equipment, pricing, all that stuff. But other than that, just been enjoying the holiday, man.
Sweet. Jeffrey, what did you have? Talk about your little Toys for Tots. That wasn't so little.
Well, it was Texas size, I guess you could say.
Uh-huh.
So going into the weekend, I was watching the weather religiously. It went from like 40% to 50% rain and then like the day before it was like 90% chance, and I was like, oh, okay. I hope everybody's ready. It's gonna be a wet one today. So, we usually set up in the front, but this time around, we set up in the back, which is cool because we set up in the in one of the docks. The DB drag side, well, the computer and term lab and monitor and stuff.
Mhm.
So we set up a 10 by 20 tent out front, just in front of where we were. So cars could just pull in under the tent. They didn't have to be under the rain. It just kind of sucked for like the other competitors that were out there. But a lot of competitors end up bringing their own canopies, which was cool. A lot of people stayed dry. The toys we got, oh, it was awesome. So many people brought toys. We had Ronnie Pruitt. He was on the show here a while back. He does this thing at the school he teaches. He does a toy drive. So it's like a couple weeks up until the day of the show. He has boxes at the school. People bring in toys, and then during the day of the show, he brings all the toys. He would bring like maybe 1 or 2 of the students, and it would just kind of be a fun-filled day, despite the rain. Roger was even barbecuing some hot dogs for the competitors and stuff like that. So it became like this uh, cook-off kind of deal. So it was kind of raining out front, but a lot of people just kind of went to the back, and then Roger ended up queuing up some hot dogs, but it was fun. It was fun.
That's cool.
Nonetheless. Yes.
Hold
For
on
the
a second.
kids.
I am trying to share the invite. Mr. Valadez wants to come on in here, so.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he messaged
Jeff,
me. I said, "Hey, message Doug."
Yep.
Jeffrey, you sound like me. It's the running joke in Tennessee that if I plan an event and plan the date, it's going to rain.
I got that right here. Sounds
Yeah,
like
leading
a
up to
Chris. That sounds like a Chris Gregory event from Richard
Oh.
Ross.
exactly what it is.
What's so like in the middle of July? It'll still rain, or what?
I'm telling you, the last 3 events before our Toys for Tots events, it rained every day.
So,
Wow.
okay, so I do want to say real quick, I want to thank all the people that pay attention to us on Facebook, YouTube, and this and that. I got my YouTube statistics for this year. I want to read them directly so I'm not misquoting what we got. So I sent this to Jeffrey. Now, if we can get 1,000 subscribers to YouTube, that would be freaking awesome. I appreciate you guys. I mean, I do appreciate what you guys are doing. Oh, shit. Why didn't it's... I sent it again. Why do I have a Venmo? Oh, because I forgot to push send. That's why it didn't work. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Let me, since I'm getting multiple things happening here at the same time. Okay. So, in 2022, This Week in Car Audio on YouTube, we got a total of 4,432 views. We did 48 shows. We did, that's about 1,000 views a show, roughly. Pretty good. We got 31,300 watched minutes. So that's means people are watching us and hanging out. Very cool. And then we got 59 new subscribers. We only got 308 total likes. So that's cool. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, then I can start monetizing. So, which would be cool to help pay for some of our costs. But I do appreciate you guys. Like I said, you don't have to do this. We would be doing this whether or not we want to. So just want to mention that. But it looks like the YouTube, I got unfreaking YouTubed or whatever it's called, blocked.
What?
So we are on Facebook. All right,
Nice.
Mr. Gregory, since our last conversation, I'm sure you got hit up with some stuff.
Oh, yes, sir.
So what was some of the stuff that got hit up with?
Well, I just recently took a question that was actually we addressed last time about Pro Stock 5K wall.
Okay.
And limiting some of the, I guess you could call it building materials.
Okay.
Some people were saying no steel in Pro Stock 5K wall. So, and I got that question asked again.
Okay.
So, and I know we bounced around with it.
Yeah.
And I think we just came to the understanding that, pretty much Pro Stock 5K wall behind the B pillars, fair game. As long as you're not cutting anything, correct?
That is within the current rules, yes, sir.
Yeah. So
okay. But we were discussing that should we allow steel cages or not as one of the limitations of that class.
Yeah, that was definitely something that got brought up a couple of times after our discussion. So another thing was people want to. I've had a few people reach out, which I know we're not trying to add classes or anything, but people want to see a street stock 2K, and a 1K both. They want to see classes to where that the average driven vehicle can compete in.
Okay,
You
so
know,
so currently we have the 1K class, right?
yeah.
And then so the reason for the 2K class going away was lack of participation.
Okay.
So you can say you want it, but a lot of times, people just don't participate. So
Yeah, I remember it was 500 in 1K before.
500,
Right.
1K, and then 2K.
Yeah.
So like I said, it is it's a lack of participation, right? So that's the reason we lose classes and gain classes.
Mhm. And the only other thing that's still a hot topic is base race
The
and the
music.
mandatory tracks.
Yep. And so
Mm.
I look at the Super Street classes at this year's finals.
I agree with Sam Dunn wholeheartedly on that. That it's starting to become. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. I love Super Street classes. I love to see those big scores. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's hard to support classes that have 3 or 4 people in it when you wonder if you created another format of, say, another street stock class or another pro stock class, would you gain more entries in that? So that's a big question right there that I definitely agree with Sam on that. That sometimes, I mean, I get the super street classes, but this year's attendance at finals was pretty harsh as far as the super street classes go.
Yeah, I can understand that. 1K was a good class. I would agree there. Uh, um, I just Wayne held on to extreme class for so freaking long because that's where his heart is, right? Is getting to good of a start in base race, getting you DQ'd still a thing? Tyler, you want to answer that for him, Mr. Gregory?
Be more than happy to. No, sir. After once we went to the standardized tracks, we were able to remove modulation. So it basically the problem with what we were doing before was, and Wayne can attest to this, and I can even attest to it, is a lot of the tracks that people were using were just a straight tone. Someone went in with a software and just put small little breaks in it, but the breaks were not long enough for the term lab score to be. I mean, there were guys doing 50 tiebreakers. They were sitting their radios literally down in the car and walking away from it because they were that dialed in with these tracks. So
Right.
with the mandatory tracks, it's got the frequency change, and it's a huge change. So and it makes you challenge. It puts the challenge back in. So to answer your question, no. As long as you use the standardized tracks, I mean, base racing is back to what it used to be, except you just have to use a track that's handed to you.
Yep. And so the shorter version of that answer is if you start early, you get a 0. We don't DQ you because DQs if you didn't run at all in the show.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That I didn't know if that's
Yeah.
what he was. I thought he meant good start as whole shot.
Yeah, so the whole shot is good to do, and it works, and you can make that work. So, like I said, the thing about the base race is you have to be able to get a start after the word set shows up on the screen, and if you're too early, you get a 0 for the run. Couple of guys saying hello. Saying hi to Mel. I believe pandas and other vehicles in that body style need their own class. So if we do that, and then somebody comes up with a new vehicle out of, say, South Africa, then how do we do that? Then do we put a whole new class for just those vehicles? Are you raising your hand, Mel?
I think we got somebody raised.
I am. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine, sir.
So, I guess with one stock, because I have experience in one stock K class, I think to kind of move the level up, we need to bring airbags into 2K and 5K. Now, not wall class, but 2K and 5K stock class, which is going to eliminate a lot of those cars. And people are going to hate me for saying that, But in reality, it's difficult to import those vehicles nowadays. And
That would be a CRX. That would be a
yeah,
Chevy Colt or
a Panda.
Panda. But okay, so where do those cars go?
Like it could be their own class. I mean, I don't know where to put them, but it's just that with how fair it was with 1K. I mean, now it's a little bit more difficult to win 1K because the number's so big. It's just it's got to go into another class.
Panda
Well,
can
Nick,
be
You mean,
beat. Sam
yeah.
says pandas can be beat, but it will be more work than anyone will do.
well, at the end of the day, Nick Camino just posted, and he is correct.
Yep.
It's the same thing that Wayne Harris brought to my attention a long time ago.
Yep.
Unfortunately, over here in the United States, yes, we talk about pandas, the Marbellas, the Farinos, the Terras, but in Europe, that's the standard car. I mean, over there, it's a $500 car, and that's what pretty much everyone drives. So you start eliminating those into some of the other classes like the pro stocks and all that, and those divisions, then Europe's just going to be sitting around with their thumbs twiddling, not knowing what to do. That's why I like the idea of the street stock 1K, street stock 2K, and then finish out your pro stocks.
I would agree with that.
Okay,
I
so
would agree with that if I didn't see a 153 in stock 1K from overseas in a
And I'm
vehicle that's got an
questioning
airbag.
those. Yeah, and a lot of people are questioning those builds. I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I question them too because I've seen some of the things that are let go by the judges. I mean, some of the seats can't even lock up, or to me, they don't look like they can lock back into place. But again, to level the playing field and to get new blood, I think the airbag rule needs to apply to 2K at least, and then maybe even 5K no wall.
okay. RP Patel says, "What difference does the vehicle make anyway?" And I okay. So I'm not on RP's side,
Right.
but I will tell you, I agree with that 100%. I took a Subaru wagon that somebody says, dude, you can't make those loud. I was the third guy in the world. The only vehicles ahead of me to hit 150 in stock class were CRXs. I came in with a Subaru station wagon and hit 150 in the stock class. Okay? So, and people said you can't do that. So, what I'm saying is, I think most vehicles can be competitive and be loud as hell. It just takes the right builder with the right amount of knowledge and a lot of time.
I would agree with that. But in order to move forward and to get away from the rules and the things of the past, we need to evolve and move forward with the vehicles.
And so Nick also brings in here the Corsas would eliminate all the Brazilians if you eliminate that car, right?
And I could be totally wrong, but that's just my opinion.
Yep.
And again, I'm not speaking for anybody at all in stock classes whatsoever. I'm speaking for myself personally.
And
I just want to see growth. That's the pure and simple. At the end of the days, I got mad respect for RP. Sam Dunn's my boy. But eventually Sam's going to get old. RP's going to get old. They're going to retire.
Yep.
And if we don't have new blood in this, then this week in car audio is going to be this week in basket weaving or this week in bowling. Which
That's
don't
right.
get me wrong, I love listening. I love Doug's bowling stories. I still watch, but I mean that's what it's going to boil down to if we don't get these newer people and draw them in.
No, agreed. So right here, Sam Dunn says my Explorer is very near 153 right now on 1K. I will say Jeffrey can attest. How many exploders have we seen that are just loud? Jacob Fincher. He was doing mid 150s with 4 like $20 subs and a bunch of 2,000 watt amps back in 2008. So, and that was in a stock Exploder, right? So I'm just saying there's a lot that can happen.
And I think I think that was kind of the big reason to frequency limits was a lot of the pandas and those kind of vehicles. It was 60 plus, 70 hertz that was
Right.
jumping their score up. So I think we went down to 60 hertz was the frequency cap, and a lot of people ask me why is there a cap on it. I kind of think it leveled the playing field a little bit by getting the frequency down. So I mean, I don't know, should we go allow any vehicle but just frequency cap it, or would that be okay?
Where you at with that, Mel?
Is he frozen? I think he's frozen.
He's way frozen. Look at that face on there.
No.
So while we're waiting for I think he's back.
Is he back?
Okay, I'm gonna have to kick his old Mel out. Hold on a second. Let me get back to Zoom here. I'm gonna kick the old Mel out. Let's see. Remove. Yep. Don't report. All right. So I'm gonna bring him back in here when he gets a chance here. His audio's muted, so if he's trying to, if you build and work on it, the vehicle doesn't matter per RP. Like I said, I agree with that 100%, and that's from somebody who's built. I built a handful of cars, and here's the S10 thing. An S10, that was the second car to hit 150. First car was a CRX, followed by an S10 extended cab. So, and Pop Tart says he's retired anyway. Don't matter.
He's going to base race with it this year.
He isn't?
Hey, no, he's going to base race with us.
Oh, cool.
He built him a Cyclone demo base racer.
Sweet. And then Dave McKay says, new people won't be as hardcore with better builds and best ideas for SPL. They want to get their feet wet. And I understand that. And I think that's really where the stock class comes in. Then you go to pro stock.
Right.
I think that is very, very important. And the people that tend to be competitive and want to go to World Finals, they move out of the pro stock class really, or the street stock class into the pro stock type builds really quickly. Because it doesn't take much to move from 1K street stock to pro stock. I can
agree with that statement nowadays because, as Mel said, the pandas are getting harder and harder to find.
Yeah, and they will.
We're not seeing as many. We're not seeing as many because I think a lot of people are kind of like, they want to show. I mean, at least in my world, I don't want to bring a car to finals, and I hear all the time, well, because it was a panda is why you won. No, I don't want that. I mean, and I think a lot of these guys are getting tired of hearing that, and they're getting away from them.
And here's Nick Cimino's comment. And like I said, I believe this wholeheartedly. I can tell you this, for Nick Cimino, that same guy who can get a Panda loud will make any vehicle loud. Now, the Panda, so here's my take on it personally. Is a CRX or a Panda, those vehicles, people have done the research and done the time to shortcut how to make them loud. S10 extended cabs. So that's why people tend to lean towards those vehicles, is because somebody's already else has done the work. And so, you standing on the shoulders of giants to elevate yourself. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing by any means. I'm just saying that's, in my opinion, the reason people jump on those vehicles. If you find a vehicle,
I think that if you give it its own class, then you're going to start seeing builder versus builder instead of car versus builder, and you can truly see who can build and who can't.
Well, we tried that, and it didn't. They literally got mad and quit. When they all got moved to 2K, like all of them gave up. I know of 3 people that literally said, forget it, we're not doing it anymore. Because they didn't want to run against each other.
And then what? So why wouldn't they want to run against each other? I'm just curious.
That's what I don't understand either, is that it's like literally there was a guy that was in before Street Stock became Street Stock 500, you were allowed to run Pandas in it. It was my first year as an SPL competitor. I came to finals. I was very proud of my little Nissan Versa.
Uh-huh.
It was my wife's car. We had did a moderate little $500 build. I mean, a low budget build in it for 500 watts,
Mm-hmm.
and I got beat by 8 dB by a Panda. I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset at all.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's just I was my first year and I was learning.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that year, I think was the year that Wayne had created the street stocks, and the Pandas all had to move to 2K.
Mm-hmm.
And they like all suddenly started disappearing. Or they would come to a show and run 500 watts just to show the number they could do, and of course it was still stupid impressive.
No, absolutely. I mean, so remember, if you guys want to see a new class, then what class are we going to eliminate? Right? Always remember that.
That's the problem we run into right now.
So you want to add another street stock class. What do I get rid of?
Well, I hate to say it because the loudest vehicle in the world is sitting on here, but we had one extreme car.
So
I hate that class shouldn't be eliminated because we should have more of them.
We absolutely should, and I can guarantee you there's Wayne's heart is with extreme cars.
I remember.
So and that is not even a slight part. I mean, his heart. That's what Wayne would be so happy if every single car in DB Drag was extreme. That would make Wayne happier than anything else.
I think we need people like Patel, and we need people like Kohler, because it's because of them you got 4 million hits on YouTube and 4 million hits on TikTok, because they are the loudest vehicles in the world. So you need those kind of people to create the flash in our game.
Definitely agreed with that.
So Darren, he's one of the judges. He's a judge out in what's
Trinidad.
that island? Trinidad. Yeah.
Trinidad.
Yeah. So he's a judge out there, and he says maybe eliminate Pro Stock No Limit. I personally think Pro Stock No Limit's an awesome class. It kind of gives you that bridge where your car is still stock inside, and you're moving on up there, trying to, you're adding the power, but you haven't dedicated your car to the SPL world yet. Because honestly, I mean, Jeffrey, once you build a super street vehicle, that car's worthless, right?
Oh God, yes. We have one sitting in our garage right now. That's
Exactly.
a piece of crap.
Well, I can say that I'm the only stock 1K guy that's come back to DB Drag Racing and gone from 1K to 2K, and it's night and day. It's just I got blown away by like almost 10 dB, and I was in a GTI. So, am I mad? I'm not mad. I mean, it's just the way it goes. But that's why people get out of DB Drag Racing or get out of car audio in general, because they don't want to get killed.
Yep. Celeste says right on here, Celeste chiming in, watching right now. She says extreme class rocks.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Hey, I started back in 1998, and we went to 2000, I think it was, DB Drag Racing World Finals. It was in Nashville. And of course, back then, you had 30 extreme cars. I mean, minimum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
So we were like,
we have 4 classes with 8 people in every class.
Right.
Yeah.
Full brackets.
We were like, we have to do this. So we went and built ourselves an extreme car. I mean, and it's just because it was cool.
Yep. Celeste says but the Super Street Death Match was freaking awesome.
Oh, yes.
You got to understand also that what is Super Street now is louder than the extreme people were back in 2002.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's definitely the way it's evolving. Jeremy Scoggin says, my first event, I was extreme because I had a center console sealed and closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He came to my Toys for Tots event way back in the day, and I didn't. I felt bad because he brought a bunch of toys, and we really didn't have a place to put him, so we just put him in Extreme. You know, just for the fun of it. I mean, it was a 1X event.
Right.
But yeah, it was.
So Nick says Super Street 1 to 2 in 2001 had 16 people entered, and that's that's the evolution of what it is. Kids these days aren't doing what they used to do as far as car audio. Car audio is now competing for every dollar out there.
Right.
We didn't have the internet like we have it now, right? I mean, there weren't the forums, the games. I mean, how many people that are under 30 years old would rather sit on their couch and play video games, right?
Oh yeah, I got one in the bedroom right now doing that.
Yeah. So I mean, so you're competing for that dollar, right? And that time, because as you get older, I mean, to me right now, there's not a dollar in the world that's as valuable as my time. My time has more value to me than anything else. So when I donate my time to like the Toys for Tots and stuff like that, dude, that is me giving my most valuable asset in my world. When I go and spend time with my kids, that's me giving my most valuable asset to my kids. With that being said, they do not feel that their time is worthy of putting into a car and building a system. They want to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to build a wall. This is going to take me 2 days to build, and I need to be doing 160s. It doesn't work that way.
I think we've all donated time, money.
Right.
I know I've donated my own money into last year's drag finals.
Oh, yeah.
I've got my company who's, even Celise and I were talking today about membership for DB drag racing. So every dollar we have to fight for, and I ask for every single dollar that we can possibly do just to make whatever we have better.
I agree. And so Celise put in here, because her and Wayne are watching right now, and they said, for now, forget about eliminating classes. What classes are needed to increase participation? Because without participation, we don't have an organization, as we've discussed many times. So why don't you bring us up, Chris, on kind of what we were talking about last show with the music classes. See if Mel's on with that. Yeah.
And this is something that I can't believe didn't have just a huge turnout at finals, which was freestyle.
We had like 3 people or something, or
and that really surprised me with freestyle. Just because it's easy, it's kick panel, it's door open, it's those big scores. So
no brackets.
A lot of orgs have And I'm not trying to cast shadow over what we're doing or whatever, but IASCA has their bass boxing. That's their music format. Mecca has their park and pound format. That's their music format. Everybody's got a music format. And I know we have Cyclone. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I love Cyclone. I think Doug can attest to this. That's all I talk about is love watching Cyclone. You guys out on the West Coast, y'all do it right. And, but at the end of the day, even with Cyclone, I mean, it's abusive to your equipment. It's kind of one of those classes where you have to really bring your big boy toys. So I was thinking about freestyle, and this is something I started doing at my events, was when Wayne said freestyle really didn't have any rules yet. We were just going to kind of get a feel for it and see what we thought. I was running a music class, a 30-second door open on the sensor on the glass music class. Because at the end of the day, the kick score was nice, but it requires that big globe thing. Not every promoter is going to have one of those. Not every promoter wants to spend the $90 on one of those. So I was throwing the sensor on the dash, throwing the door open, doing a 1K class, a 5K class, a no limit class, and it was all music.
Was
So
it peak hold or was it
yeah.
average?
It was average. We did it on average, just a
It was
30-second
average.
average. And I was having what I would like to think moderate success. And then when Wayne had made the decision that it was going to be a burp only class, I started doing that. I was still having moderate success with it, but I still believe, I think that if we turned freestyle into a music class without the frequency requirements of Cyclone, and just make it to where, you can run music, whatever music you want. It's just a 30-second average. I think maybe we could actually, see some growth. I don't want to see freestyle down.
I like the idea of the head-to-head competition in the burp classing or burp classes for freestyle. That was a good idea because Jeffrey and I tried that here in Dallas once, and it was pretty exciting because it was like a couple tenths off, and everybody was around the cars and everything. So I like that idea, the whole head-to-head competition.
So that's the thing that DB Drag has, and that's their niche, right? Is the head-to-head,
right?
Which no other organization is authorized to have, right? So that is DB Drag's thing, is head-to-head competition. So I'm trying to remember how we went about this last show. We were talking about the music classes, and we were talking they would be head-to-head, and you were saying 30-second average. And now, what were you saying? They should use boom check. They could use whichever boom check they want.
We hadn't really discussed that part of it, but
okay.
I would definitely think that yes, the boom check tracks would be a good option for that format. Mm-hmm. But once again, we would definitely want to do like a 1X event. It's not required. Because once again, this is going to be one of those formats where I'm going to try to challenge some guy in the parking lot who's out there just demoing his favorite song. Hey, why don't you come over here and play that in the lanes, or try it over here?
So let me explain to you, for freestyle, for me as a promoter and what I have going on. Freestyle works great because I get probably 5 people in an event. I don't know if Jeffrey's the same thing. I just want to see how loud I am. They don't want head-to-head. They don't want none of that stuff. And freestyle gives them an opportunity to come in, and I say, hey, check this out. We'll do you one-time DB Drag style, which we'll put it on the dash, and it'll be like your normal sealed up, so you'll know what your DB Drag score is. Then the second one, we'll try and get you loud, get you a show number, as I call them, where we'll put it in the kick and the globe. And that's how freestyle works for my shows. And when we've experimented with it, we did it at Slamology. It was very successful with that premise of, this is for people that don't want to come back and go head-to-head. This is for people that just want to see a number. And I think that gave them a spot to play. And really, freestyle is meant, I think, for your local shows, not for World Finals.
I can agree with that statement. I can definitely agree with that. Now in my area, yes, I have that problem of where if it's not offered at a finals, some people shy away from it. But I have a lot of people that just enjoy doing it. The format. Unfortunately, my area is flooded with. You guys obviously see the same thing. I've got Mecca north of me. I got Base Wars east of me. I don't even know what I got south of me, but I got something. So I've got I do a lot of multi-org shows anyways, just to try to bring in multiple competitors. So
we have U.S.A.C, which is very popular, and that's just like freestyle. So for us, I don't understand why it just hasn't exploded or taken off like it should have.
I don't know either. I think it's a great format. I like it.
Yeah, I've had a couple of competitors tell me they kind of shy away from it because there's it's almost like a bottleneck in the Super Street division. So it's Super Street No Limit is one of the classes. A lot of people get put in that class, and then it just kind of seems like they get lost.
I
You
could
know,
see
they
that, but also I could see Doug's perspective on freestyle being the guy. I mean, no offense, I don't want a super street guy in freestyle. I want
Mhm.
a street stock 1K, a street stock 5K, a pro stock no limit car. That's what I want to see. Now, there is a hiccup in the
I
freestyle
agree.
formats by the rules. Trunk cars technically cannot compete in any of those classes because they don't have all that carpet in the rear. So, and that's something I think also that we need to look into later down the road.
Trunk
Is that,
freestyle.
well, not only that, but trunk cars, period.
Yeah.
You know, a trunk car has Pro Stock 5K. If it's built like your standard trunk car, it can compete nowhere else in Pro Stock because all of
Everything
the
needs to be stocked,
Right.
including the
the
rear.
Except
carpets in the
for Pro
trunk.
Stock
Yeah.
Trunk 5K.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think that would be something where I would like to see maybe the yes, Richard, we know yours has carpet, but yours is pretty. So,
Not
uh,
everybody's trunk builds are pretty.
yeah, not everybody's truck builds are pretty, but it is something that I think that needs to be looked into.
Mhm.
Maybe for next year is to exclude trunk cars from having all of the panels in the trunk itself.
For
And I think if
freestyle
we could,
only.
well, I think freestyle and drag also.
Well, so
Probably not
okay,
only just the 2Ks,
so
CRXs, and all that stuff.
so the reason we have it like that. So if somebody wants to build a trunk and they actually put it inside their trunk,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just for explanation purposes, somebody goes to your local shop, they buy a prefab box with two kicker 12s in a already ready to go, amps mounted to the box, and they stick that in their trunk, and they just put that in their trunk, and they go to a show. Do you want me to put them up against the trunk 5K guys?
No.
Okay, so that guy, because he's got less than 2,000
Carpet.
watts, obviously, he can play in the 2,000 class. He can actually play in the 1,000 class.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got the guys who did a serious trunk build, and we gave them their place. Now that's the reasoning behind why we said a
But-
trunk class
in reality-
versus a regular one.
In reality, are we really getting those people that buy a prefab box, a pair of subs, and an amplifier to come into DB drag racing? I don't think we are.
I do. I absolutely do. Now that you got to understand. So my area is, in the Bay Area alone, there's like 4 million people, right, or 3.5 million people. Within a 2-hour drive of any of my shows, you're in the probably 5 to 7 million people. Okay, so and also the people in California are different than the people in Tennessee. And obviously, as you know, as somebody in Texas, California people ain't the same people that you have in Texas, right? So, I've seen those signs, don't California up my Texas, right? So, we have different people in different areas. And for my area, this works great. And that's kind of why we ask for people in different areas to have this discussion. We also have to remember that it's not just my area, it's not your area. We're talking worldwide, right? We have Brazil, we have Russia, we have Germany, we have Greece, we have China. All these people. I mean, we have Barbados, we have Trinidad.
We have a lot to think about.
Right. So
Yeah.
when we as judges sit down and start discussing rules, and it's so easy to just think about what happens at your show, and what happens in your area. And that's more of what I'm trying to get at with doing this show right now is we want to show people that there's a lot that goes into when we come up with a rule. We try so hard to come up with a rule, but it's got to be, we got to write it so it's universal through all parts of the world. We do roughly 730 events a year worldwide, and only I think like 60 or 70 of them are in the United States.
Well,
So,
being one of a handful of United States competitors that have gone from California to
yep,
Alabama
yep,
and all the way up to Kentucky
yep. And
and
Florida,
even
right?
and Florida
That's
and
right.
even thought about going down to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is different and everyone does have their way of doing shows and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But um, again, I don't see I don't see that anymore. Where the kid that buys a pair of subs in the prefab box, we just don't see it. And we see the purpose built vehicles now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I've seen from Florida to. Now, I didn't see it in California. I saw it in Tennessee. I saw it in Florida. I saw it in Kentucky. I saw it here in Texas, and I mean, we've had arguments. I've had arguments with people about why they should have purpose built vehicles.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a competition format, and
It is.
I mean, that's why I preach and preach to anyone that wants to start competing, but has that prefab box and that 300-watt
Mm-hmm.
amp. Come base race.
Base
We'll
race,
teach
right?
you.
Right.
Base race top dog, right?
Right.
Yeah, we've got a brand new I mean, well, y'all met her, the Queen. You know that we
That's
call her
right. The Queen.
Dark Side Queen.
Yep.
She ran all season with a prefab kicker box
Mm-hmm.
on a 3,000-watt amp. Okay, and she came to finals, said 3,000-watt amp went boom. So she had a 500-watt kicker amp in that car running.
Right.
Wow.
So
And I think base races, those classes where that can fit into.
that's correct. So that's
Right.
part of what we did is DB drag is so I want to bring up RP's thing up here. Where is RP? Head to head is what it's all about. RP freestyle. Okay, DB drag right here is freestyle is for other organizations. I don't necessarily agree with that because we got to give everybody an opportunity to play that shows up at our shows. We want to show them a good time, right? So freestyle, if we use it the way I intend it, I think it's a good fit. At least, like I said, in my area, it's a good fit that way. But what he says here is DB drag is for the elite in SPL. This is why we are here. I don't disagree with that. I really think that DB Drag is the elite organization in the world for car audio. And with it being the most elite, it's so difficult to create classes at the DB Drag and ask people to come along. That's why, as Chris is saying, and I've seen Jeffrey do, is we need to bring new guys in at the base race and the top dog level. That's what in my opinion, those are the classes that we bring the new people into. And then if they want to get loud or they just want another opportunity to compete, that's when we introduce them to DB Drag. I could be totally wrong in that, but that is kind of how I approach my shows.
I don't disagree with that either.
I mean, when I'm promoting shows in my area, y'all all know what do we promote? What's the name? Tennessee Base Racer.
Base racer, yeah.
Except the funny thing at the Christmas parade, we brought out a couple of the cars in Lebanon, had a good time, and then we were introduced as the Tennessee Bass Racers.
No.
Jeremy Scoggins told someone that literally we go to the lake and we throw a bass in there and we see who's faster. So yeah, but yeah, that's what we promote. And you know, like I said, my base race attendance, as anybody can see, is far more than my DB drag. It's far more than my cycling. But I'm still going to offer those classes because at the end of the day, you know, Tennessee has brought a couple of world champions to the, you know, and we'll continue to do so. But to get people in the lanes, oh yeah, it's base race all the way. Because I can bring in that guy with the $300 system.
Okay,
we need those shows like in Tennessee and in Florida because, you know, so that way in case somebody needs multiple points at the end of the year, they can always attend one of those shows to try to qualify for finals.
Right. I'm going to read what Nick Semino put up right here. It says, I've been saying for years, you want fresh blood, eliminate Neos, lithium, and higher-end products, and make real starter classes when stock 1K setups are worth $20,000. Let's be real.
Wow.
I'm not saying I disagree with that.
I agree with it 100%. But at the end of the day, it was thought about, and judges ain't got time to be pulling subs out of boxes to verify it's not a Neo. Lithium has become such a easy standard nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excess power right behind me.
Yep. I'll tell you right now, I probably see one car in an event that doesn't have lithium. I mean, realistically.
Exactly.
And even the new people that pull in, they've got a bank of lithium. Brand new. First time ever at a show. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to be quiet because I know that in my 1K build, I had about 15K worth of equipment in my car. So,
but you had to.
You have to
be competitive.
I will say right now, there is a significant difference in a Neo sub.
Oh yeah.
And a Ferrite sub.
Oh,
easily.
We have data to prove that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see here. Never happened too expensive. You and all the elite is all fine. Then one day it will be only the top 2 guys in every class attending finals, and you'll have 24 people at finals instead of 200, 300. We would get back in the day. Like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you, Nick, but I think that the days of 200 to 300 people at World Finals may not come again. It may be difficult.
Kids are not as interested in vehicles.
That's right.
As we were growing up.
Yep.
So that's why you're not going to have those 200, 300 people at finals anymore.
Yep.
We had another organization that was in my backyard. Their finals was, and typically this organization, I mean, they have a pretty decent sized finals. I mean, they have 15 classes, so of this and that, and even their attendance, you could tell, was not what it had been in the past years. And it's just simply because, like Mel said, your average kid would rather, he's going to pull up in the parking lot, do his selfie video, and throw a baby in the window or whatever, or throw a towel in the window, whatever will float in the window is going to float.
Right.
And they're going to go home. And they're going to, and that's what they came for. They don't want to get on that meter. They don't want to compete anymore.
Yep. And I understand. It's called, from Steve Willis, it's called competition, people. I want the best so I can be the best. And
Agreed,
that's
100%.
And I will tell you, I don't care if it's base race, top dog. You don't want to go against somebody that doesn't have a clue what they're doing. And I know Chris can tell you. I'm sure Mel and Jeffrey. I put champions in with brand new base racers to get them, because all my champion base racers, they want these people to come and push them and make them better.
Exactly.
That's what it is. I sat in a car because I do Beat the Boss, right? So I don't know if you guys watched that video, but I was doing Beat the Boss this weekend, and I sat in a lady's car. Her name's Kayla. It was the first time ever to a competition, and frickin' Moses convinced her to do 129.9s. So she's a 148.7 in DB drag.
Burp.
Wow, that must have been fun to control.
Oh, holy crap. I'm literally got the knob, and I'm like minor tiny move, and the thing's going up like 4/10. I'm like, holy crap, you're in the wrong class. But I will tell you, she can do it. Anybody can do it. I think our growth has to be, this is coming from me, is in base race top dog. Our growth has to be there. That's why I offer cash for those particular classes. Because
that's why we do cash days.
Dave Bradshaw, he's in here right now. He's a great example. He started competing base race, top dog. Now he's got a Kong, which is a Cyclone build, and Super Street X build. He's a good example of what happens. You start somebody in base race, then, if they say, hey, I just want to be loud. I want to show off what I can do. Then they move to DB drag. It's
Right.
hard to come into DB drag and be
Competitive.
super competitive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Celeste,
I don't have the patience for base race whatsoever. That's the only reason why I don't compete in it.
But it's so fun.
okay,
Trust me, Mel. I promise you, it doesn't matter about patience. You do it once, you'll get addicted.
Yep.
It's addictive because it's just that and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're RP Patel. I don't care
Right
if
here.
you're Doug Stockton. Somebody new can beat you.
It's right here. It says base race used to be fun. I did the 159.9 class. So RP may be another person that started in base racing and then moved to, right? So Celeste does, so we only have about 7 minutes left or so. Celeste says right now, hey, everybody, if you can add one new class to DB drag, what would it be? Not for beginners. So if you
I
wanted
like what RP said.
what
I
was
like
that?
Super Street Clamp. Super Street Clamp. I don't
Right here,
like the
10K or
10K,
20K.
though.
Okay.
I'd like it to be a little lower in power, but like 5K or something, like a Super Street 5K class.
So Super
That's what I'd
Street
like to see.
5K?
Yeah, I would like to see a Clamp Super Street class.
A clamp Super Street class. Okay, so for my area, 5K is going to be a little low.
So you think 10K?
I think 10K would be
I
about
would
your
think
minimum.
10K would be- yeah,
Okay.
I think 10K would be about what we need because in Texas everything is big, including the bills. So
But how about the conductors then? So are they going to be
One
limited
amp.
to one amp?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
at the end of the day, you've got, I mean, no offense, I can go out and buy a 20,000 watt amp
Mm-hmm.
pretty regularly now, thanks to Brazilian and Class D power.
Yep.
right, yeah, or
Okay.
2 amps strapped.
They pair together.
RP says fine.
Yeah.
Let's make it a 100K class.
RP's already in that class. It's the $100,000 class. He's already in that class.
Old school rules, no cuts.
Yeah.
I would love to
Wow.
see that type of old school build, that's, I would love to see the return of, like, you remember back in the day when nobody ported anything and you had like 24 15s and a big power wedge? Those are the builds I was always impressed with.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the return of Daytona Beach.
Oh, I remember that.
Spring
Lord.
Break Nationals.
Yes.
God, there was lots of liquor drank. I don't even know how I made it to. I ain't gonna lie.
Yep. So Celeste says, don't worry about getting rid of a class right now. Let's just, what would work best for a brand new class? 2 layers of deadener, no foam, no double windshields. That's what Nick Semino suggests.
And I
It's
think
still
I think the
just-
scores will get stuck at a certain level. I think if we did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you police that? How do you police spray foam?
Yeah, I mean that's
So
the
that is
discussion we had 2
difficult.
weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't like police that.
Definitely add more stock classes and clamp Super Street classes. RP says Super Street clamp 10K, no floor cuts, two windshield.
No 2 windshields and a deadler.
Deaden-
Yeah, no
deadener
2
limit.
windshields and a deadener limit.
RP, what do you think about the old street? What did they call it? Street Max.
So I will tell you, Street Max has some interest to a lot of people. I've heard some people bring Street Max up. The Street Max class, the problem is it overlaps 5K so much, right?
I could see that.
It just
I can see that.
Pro Stock Wall 5K, it overlaps so much.
Celeste brought up a good point.
What was that?
Drivable for Super Street Clamp class.
Okay. So thoughts on
There's
that?
a problem with that. There is a
Okay.
problem with that, and that's something Wayne brought to my attention.
Okay.
Over in Europe, if you have a wall and can't see out the back window, you can't legally drive it.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. And see, those
Interesting.
are the kind of things that we have to think of judges, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, you guys, the competitors come with great ideas, and the issue is once again that they're limited in what they see, and they aren't they don't understand the rules and the laws of other countries. So, they, like you said, I didn't know about the wall thing until you just told me, right?
I
That they
didn't know
can't drive.
either. I didn't know either
I
till
didn't
one
know
day Wayne and I were having that discussion.
Yeah, and Darren said in Trinidad, same thing. You can't drive it. Dave Bradshaw says put blow-throughs in the trunk class. No, Dave.
Blow through
Hey,
trucks.
how
No.
about this? Pro Stock 5K becomes Super Street 10K, and bring back Street Max. There you go. Problem solved.
So, do you remember what the big limiting factor in Street Max was?
The battery size.
Battery.
So
is one of them.
it was two things: factory seats, right?
Yep.
And
And that's still a fight today in Pro Stock.
Yes.
5K. Everybody's arguing about, oh, that seat's not factory. That seat's not
Right.
factory.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm just sharing with you what we had, and then the other thing was you were limited to 2 AGM batteries. So I think the AGM battery thing is seen its day. I
Yeah.
don't. It's just like I said. I bet you. What did I have? 45 entries this last weekend, and I bet you. I think maybe 2 cars had AGMs in it.
Well, there's your answer right there. Mr. Sean Mayo, Mr. Excess Power, just clicked in saying someone said something about lithium and batteries. Trust me, they still sell AGMs. I've seen the warehouse; it's full.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't doubt they sell AGM. I'm just saying it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a preferred choice anymore.
Right.
agree
If I go to
wholeheartedly.
a stereo shop, are they going to try and sell me a $300 AGM, or are they going to try and sell me a $700 or $1,000 lithium that's going to be more reliable and work better
Oh,
in
yes,
most
the lithium
cases?
is by far.
Yeah. And
That
so
has definitely changed, and we need to evolve.
Yep.
And that's evolving. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to bring a stock Honda to the drag strip. You're going to want something that's souped up, So,
Exactly right.
I mean,
There's bracket racing. Don't say anything about that. There's
DB drag racing is.
yeah.
That's what DB drag racing is. It is bringing your best to the table,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Oh, I agree.
No, I would agree with that too. All right, guys, we're on an hour. This might be something we do like once a month or something, just to kind of
I like that
fill
idea.
out.
I'm down with it. I
Okay.
love it. Especially we got a lot of people in here that really brought up some good points.
Right, and not necessarily. And remember, like all this stuff we're talking is 100% hypothetical. I just want to bring that up.
Hypothetical.
The rules have not been set yet. These are you got Wayne and Celeste looking in here on comments and listening to what's being said here. So if we wanted to share with people and try and get a good way for your voice to be heard, this may not be a bad way to do it. And then another thing is people have questions about like regular just in general questions. We can give them our suggestion. Waste time once a month. Beating a dead horse is what Steve Willis says.
I guess once they're locked, then we really can't. Well, I mean, we could always talk about. We can discuss them, but we can't.
Right.
I guess really
Right.
change them.
But it does give us thoughts to move forward with, I think. And I do truly believe people given these suggestions aren't almost everybody I see given suggestions and whatnot aren't doing it to better their game. They think that it's best for DB drag. And I get that feeling that nobody's trying to do it as a personal thing, and it's more of, at least in this realm that we're doing right now. So, but anyway, other than that, that's all I got about it. Mal, anything to say to end the night here?
No, other than go TCU. I know that we're going to get the Fiesta
Yeah.
Bowl, so
No, are
that's
they
about
one of
all I've
the
got to say.
are they one of the ones in the finals or whatever they call it in college?
Yeah, we're going to get killed by Michigan, but it is what it is. We're there.
All right, what you got for us, Mr. Gregory?
Just remember, if there's a Toys for Tots event in your area, go to it, support it, be active
Support
with
it.
it. Yeah, it's well worth it. And other than that, my son leaves on Friday for Allentown, Pennsylvania, to bowl in a tournament in the middle of a snowstorm.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Hey, just a real quick, so I bowled in a tournament or in a league. I just went down to go watch a friend bowl, and the next guy, one of the guys that was bowling there, is like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm not bowling you." And so they just needed a sub. So I shot a cool 720 series on him. So average 240. Whatever.
Yeah,
So
sure they enjoyed that.
oh yeah, it's just because I wasn't even gonna bowl until he said something. So Jeffrey, what you got?
We just knocked out our show for December. We're looking at January, probably the weekend after CES. We're kind of debating on bringing it to a Sunday this time around, though. We've been doing it Saturday, past couple Saturdays, and we've been. I think one of the businesses across the way came out, and he might have complained a little bit, but yeah, we definitely don't want that. So we're gonna get that in the works here pretty soon. You guys should be seeing it up on the calendar. So yep, that's what I got going on.
Okay.
Real quick, one other quick thing I just want to say.
Sure,
Hey,
go ahead.
Jeffrey,
Yes, sir.
We're going to base race Cali this year, so we'd love to base race Texas as well if we can get this link up thing
Yeah.
going.
I prepped the troops, so they know what's going on. They
Yeah.
know what's up.
So we're most likely going to do 3 venues at the same time.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
We're down like a clown.
yeah, no doubt about that. And for me, we did a Toys for Tots this last weekend. Turnout was great. The competitors are awesome. You guys have so much money into your cars. I can't even thank you guys enough. We had so many freaking toys. And it was awesome. There's one more here in California in Fresno, and that's going to be this weekend, and it's multiple orgs. I don't even remember what organizations. I think it's IASCA, U.S.A.C, Base Wars or something. There's a whole bunch of things going on there. But if you get a chance, please, like Greg said, go support your local Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
It's we're here talking about first world problems of how are we going to judge cars and stuff like that. And there's kids out there that literally don't have anything.
Right.
The one in Northern California, we go to a battered women's shelter. Those kids left their house with probably nothing other than what was on their back, and they snuck out in the middle of the night, and that's where those toys went. So, and then they go to the Shriners Hospital, kids with cancer and stuff like that. And, they're not thinking about what car they're going to build or any of that stuff. So, definitely support those kids. That's all I can say is, this is something that definitely pulls to me this time of year especially. So, anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again next week, Monday, 5 o'clock. We got Ruthless Audio, brand new audio company. They just started selling amplifiers a couple weeks ago.
Was it Ben? It's Benjamin Barnett?
Ben Barnett, yes, sir.
Ben Barnett? Okay.
Yep. So he's going to come on and talk to us about his stuff. And then hopefully we get some cool stuff. We get some cool stuff from the DB drag side. Maybe have some rules that actually go into effect by then or the following week, and we could start talking about the rule changes if there are any. But other than that, guys, hey, thank you for tuning in. We need to get more subscribers to the YouTube side. That'd be awesome. Create some work account or something and make a YouTube and just subscribe. It'd be awesome to do that. Other than that, whoa, lost my camera.
Whoa.
I just fell over my camera, that is. Anyway, if you guys want to tune in next week, 5:30 p.m. California time, the only time that matters. Want to thank our sponsors. Sponsor those who sponsor you and the things you want to do. We got our show sponsored today by Crossfire, lots of Watts Apparel, Stolman Transport LLC, and Puns Customs. So please support those who support the things that you love to do and you love to be part of. Also, get your memberships for your different organizations you compete in. Don't just compete in them. Get a membership for that. That's how those organizations pay for some of their stuff. And that goes to the national people so that they can pay for web space and stuff like that. So please support your organizations and support the businesses that support the things you like to do. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week at 5:30 p.m. California time, the only time that matters. We are out of here.